Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Jeffers, and I am the nutrition coach here at Mind and Body Solutions. And today I wanted to discuss stress management with you. So, we're often told that to improve our health, we need to simply reduce our stress. But it's not simple at all. In fact, it can be stressful just trying to think about all the areas of our life that we need to de stress. So my hope is that once you learn more about the science of stress and the function of your nervous system, that things won't seem so overwhelming and you will see why it's beneficial to reduce your stress. So first, what is stress? Stress is the perception of a threat, whether it's internal, external, or mental. Um, and this can be physical, biological, chemical, environmental, spiritual. Stress has three stages. There is the alarm stage, and this is your nervous system activation. There's the resistance stage. This is where you return to homeostasis. And then there's the exhaustion stage. And this is when unresolved stress can cause illness. So the autonomic nervous system is a part of your central nervous system. And the autonomic nervous system is in charge of your function of all your subconscious actions. So your breathing, the function of your organs, your digestion, your kidney function, hormones, etc. And there are two modes within the autonomic nervous system that work in confliction with one another. So you have your sympathetic mode, also known as your fight or flight or freeze mode, or your parasympathetic mode, which is considered your rest, digest, or detox and repair mode. And so I'm going to go over a little bit about what these modes do and how they contrast. So for purpose, the parasympathetic mode is a healing response, whereas sympathetic mode is a protective response. For your nervous system, parasympathetic is calm and clear and even, whereas sympathetic is anxious and reactive and charged. For long-term immune response, parasympathetic is active and strong and resilient. With sympathetic mode, your immune system is inactive, weak, and exhausted. For blood distribution in parasympathetic mode, it's going to your digestive muscles and your core. For sympathetic, it's going to your skeletal muscles and extremities. For muscles, parasympathetic mode, your muscles are relaxed and pliable. With sympathetic, they are tense and constricted and rigid. Your breathing in parasympathetic mode is deep abdominal breathing, whereas in sympathetic, it is shallow chest and neck breathing. In parasympathetic mode, your sleep is more restful, you have more vivid dreams, and then in sympathetic, it's interrupted sleep, and it's not the best. Your energy in parasympathetic mode is abundant. In sympathetic, you often feel fatigued. Your emotions in parasympathetic mode are happy, connected, and satisfied. And then in sympathetic mode, they are anxious, impatient, and lonely. So I hope that kind of gives a window into the differences. Parasympathetic, you're more relaxed, calm, connected, secure, giving into the title of rest and digest. And then in the sympathetic mode, you're on edge, you're anxious, you're, tensed up, what's coming next, hence the fight or flight mode that you're in. So when people tell us to reduce stress, rather than stress about the things we need to reduce stress about, it's more important to prioritize the parasympathetic nervous system function rather than the sympathetic. So when we get hit with stress, we don't immediately go into fight or flight mode. We are able to stay in our rest and digest and detox and repair mode, and we're more adapt to handle that stress without reaching a point of exhaustion. So Why should you reduce stress? Like, what are the consequences of stress besides, just kind of feeling mental stress or stuff like that? So, stress can make itself present in a lot of ways that we might not recognize are connected to stress. So, one of them is reduced immunity. So, your immune system is going to be down. You're going to be more likely to get sick, stay sick, etc. Um, Hyperoxidation and reduced cellular mitochondria. This basically just means your cells aren't doing the best that they could be. Like, you might remember from high school biology, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So when you're stressed, if you have a reduction of mitochondria, this is what's making your energy. So if those mitochondria are diminished, then you are fatigued and you're less energized. Also, stress can cause digestive distress and gut permeability, so having allergies, worsened asthma, irritable bowel syndrome, autoimmune disorders, and hormone imbalances can all be a result of stress. You can also have blood sugar imbalance and reduced insulin sensitivity as a result of chronic stress, premature aging and reduced cellular repair, heart issues and blood vessel damage, exhaustion, anxiety, depression, insomnia, mood swings, and fibromyalgia. And the list is longer than that, but these are just some of the common factors that can be a result of stress that you might not notice, or you might not connect the dots that maybe stress is part of the issue. And so, one way we can support the neurotransmitters and hormones that handle stress is through nutrition. So, nutrients that support these are found in foods like um, meat and poultry, like your sources of complete amino acids for protein, seaweed, olives, natural sea salt, Brazil nuts, and pumpkin seeds. Those are all foods that are going to specifically help your neurotransmitters in your nervous system. And then some other nutrients that just support as well include colorful organic fruits and vegetables to give you those antioxidants, um, probiotics and prebiotics. So probiotics you're going to find in cultured dairy, fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, um, kefir, and then prebiotics, you can get those from vegetables. And then electrolytes can also be supportive as well. And so for other ways to support your parasympathetic nervous system, like activities you can implement into your life, this can include yoga or Tai Chi. These can reduce your sympathetic dominance, so it can reduce your instant instant transformation into fight or flight mode rather than rest and digest. Prioritizing self-care, downtime, relaxation, activities that bring you joy, those can all help support your parasympathetic nervous system. Having a positive attitude, positive thinking, that can significantly change your perception, even of how you view stress. You can be having a stressful period happen or a situation occur, but the power of your brain is so incredible because the way you perceive that stress, you can either look at it as the negative and everything that's going wrong because of the stress, or you can have a more positive outlook on it, and that affects kind of what avenue you veer into, whether fight or flight or parasympathetic. Um, Sympathetic and parasympathetic. Um, Having meaningful connections, either with family or partner or friends, that goes a long way, well as a means to increase your parasympathetic nervous system response. Meditation and or prayer can help with this as well. And increasing your release of endorphins, which can be done through movement, like strength training releases endorphins, yoga releases endorphins. There's other options as well. That's why my next point was exercise is a good way to increase parasympathetic dominance. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a difference in breathing, so a good way to maintain the function of your parasympathetic nervous system is to have deep abdominal breathing. And so if you're not sure what that means, I would recommend Googling it, and there are articles or videos on kind of how to practice that and how to regulate your breathing. And then laughter and smiling is a good way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So make sure you have fun and you surround yourself with joy and positivity. And then trying new things is another way to increase the dominance of your rest and digest mode. Um, Stressors to reduce. I save this for last because I prefer to increase the good to flush out the bad rather than starting with removing. So it's the idea of kind of crowding out the bad with the good, adding stuff, rather than being like, oh, I have to get rid of this and this and this and this. So stressors you can reduce are a negative environment, whether this is the people you're around, whether it's the ambiance of the room you're in. I know this is hard to change, especially if it's workplace. You can't always change that. Negative thoughts about yourself, about your situation, about others. Trying to switch to a more neutral or positive mindset can help your perception of stress. Reducing Another stressor you can reduce is gut dysfunction. So making sure you're getting in, you know, enough nutrients, and maybe kind of if you have other problems, maybe going to someone and being like, I want to figure this out. That one's kind of like a double-edged sword because stress can cause gut dysfunction, but gut dysfunction can cause stress. So I'm just putting that out there. Um, Reducing fat soluble toxins, so toxins that are going to stay in your body, which are pesticides, herbicides, trans fats. So trying to buy organic produce when and where you can, and then staying away from fried foods, highly processed foods, seed oils that have been heated and processed, will help with fat soluble toxins. Um, Avoiding neurotoxins, so this is going to be mercury, aluminum, aspartame, food additives, so artificial flavorings, colorings, stabilizers, gums in food. With mercury, this is mainly in your seafood, so just kind of watch out for that. Tuna is the food that has the most mercury, but there's lots of brands that will like give you a rating on the mercury content. And I think the brand Safe Catch has consistently the lowest mercury count. I believe that's the right brand. You don't quote me on that. Do your own research on that part. But that kind of thing. Aluminum would be maybe swapping the kind of water bottles you're drinking out of or the kind of cookware you're using, stuff like that. Um, EMFs, so avoiding excessive electromagnetic field exposure. Um, so EMFs are going to be from all your appliances, refrigerator, microwave, your devices, phone, TV, tablet, laptop, computer. So with that, kind of just make sure you spend enough time like disconnected from technology, spend time outdoors in nature. Um, that will help with that. Caffeine, alcohol, sugar, processed foods, those can all be stressors. Um, lack of sleep, Lack of sleep is a stressor. Again, that's one of the things that's kind of a double-edged sword because stress can cause a lack of sleep, but lack of sleep can cause stress. um, circadian rhythm dysregulation, and unresolved trauma from adverse childhood events. So if you have childhood trauma that you haven't worked through, that can be a stressor that your body's holding on to that you might not be aware how much it's impacting you. So I listed a lot of things here, and I don't want you to get stressed about the amount of things you need to de-stress. Like I said, I want you to focus on adding the good to crowd out the bad. So adding the things that are going to support your parasympathetic mode to crowd out the stressors, or even just decrease the negative response you have to those stressors. So focus on meaningful connection, having self-care, laughter, trying new things. Focus on that first, and that can help to improve that parasympathetic response so that when you are going through a stressful period, you respond to it in a different way that is more manageable rather than leading to the point of exhaustion because of prolonged fight or flight. So I hope you understand a little bit more about the different modes and how your body perceives stress and what you can do to manage it. And I just hope this was helpful.